Yeah, so on today's tutorials, we'll be cutting the vintage shirt. Firstly, you first bend the edges where the button hole and the button is going to sit. And bending it, you use 3" or more, but preferably use 3". Then you bend it. After folding it, you fold the other side like so. Press it well to be like this. You press the other surface to also lie down like so. So after doing that, we'll go straight to cutting. So from here, this is where I'm cutting the shoulder. That's the slanting. So after the slanting, we'll take our length, and for the length of this shirt, since it's a vintage shirt, we'll be using length. I'm using a length of 30. I'm using a length of 30 plus 1" allowance. So after that, you take your normal body's measurement and bring out the front. Basically, we know how to do that. Bring out the front pattern before cutting the back. So after cutting the back now, we're going to cut the front. And in cutting the front, we have to use the standard measurement from whatever we get from the person's neck. For this guy's neck is around 16. So for the width of our neck, we're using 2.5. We're using 2.5 for the width of our neck. And for the depth, we're using 3.2 for the depth of our neck. 3.2 for the depth of our neck. So we'll connect it to make a curve. We're cutting to make a curve. Then we'll cut it like so. And after cutting this, we'll place the backdrop in order to cut the back also this way. This is how we're going to cut the back. You cut it like this. Take the piece up, then you cut it. So we're cutting our neck of our vintage neck. Then we measure 1 inch. We measure 1 inch from the tip of our bending. 1 inch to bring out that V shape at the front of the neck, like so. And that's about the neck. We'll go straight to making of the front. So here I'm using a paper gum in order to put it where the buttonhole is going to be, just to make the place a little bit strong. Since it's a vintage material, we all know that vintage materials are very soft, so it will be easy for me when I'm making the buttonholes to be a little bit thick when I'm making the buttonholes. Then from here, I'm going to use a gum stain in order to put it halfway where the neck is going to bend, and I will do the same thing for the other side of the shirt. So make sure that we gum it well, but we're not gumming it full. We're gumming it just the upside of the neck, just like about 5 inch from the neck downwards. So we'll gum it and we'll do the same thing for the other side of the neck. After gumming it, then you trim it in order to get a clean work, and then you bend it back as it was normal from the beginning. You bend it like this back as it was at the beginning. Then you iron it. You iron it gently, and you do the same thing for the other side of the shirt. So we've done it for the other side. From the V part where we marked from where we're cutting, you minus 1 inch and notch it inside with just a 1/4 inch. Then we'll go to the machine and sew. So from here, we'll bend it and sew it this way. Then we trim the thread. Then we trim the excess from where we bent and turn it inside, and this is what it gives us. Then we'll stitch the remaining side of the neck together with the main cloth so that it won't be shaking when we're fixing the collar. So you repeat the same thing for the other side of the shirt. After doing that, you join the front part of the shirt to the back, which I believe we all know how to do that. So after you join it, you go back to the table and make all your necessary trimming where you trim everything to be your exact measurement, and that's exactly what I'm doing here. So after trimming, we'll go back to the machine and fix our sleeves to the shirt and close the shirt, sew the whole shirt and close it, and we'll get to the collar stage where I will show you how to fix the collar. So after that, this is what we have after joining the whole clothes. We'll fold it down, we've done the slits and everything. This is our finished work, so I'll show you how to do the collar right away. So going from the collar, we are going to measure from one end of the notch to the other end of the other notch, like this, till you get to the other notch. You get the other notch, and this is it, and it gives us 16 3/4. So we'll be using a cloth gum. We're not using a paper gum, we're not using a collar stay and collar gum, we're not using paper gum, we're using a cloth gum. A cloth gum, I don't know what you call it, but it's a cloth gum. So from here, we'll measure the length of our neck, which is 16 3/4. After measuring it, we'll measure the width of the neck, which we're using 3. Some people use 3.5, but I prefer using 3. Then we'll mark these 3 all through to the point of the 16 3/4 which we've measured. Then we'll draw a straight line connecting all the lines so that we could get a perfect rectangle. So after cutting, this is what we have. We've cut it out. From here, we bend it into 2 to cut the shape of the neck. So from here, we have our 6 3/4. If you divide it by 2, it will give you 8.3. To give you 8.3 in total when you divide it by 2. Then you place it on the collar gum. Then if you want the peak of your collar to be very long, you measure it. I'm using 2 for mount. So from that point where you measure 2, you are going to curve the base of the collar gum to get a curve to meet that point. From there, then you measure to make sure that you're having your 6 3/4 from what you get, and that's what I'm doing. So I'll trim off this excess now. After that, from the base of your collar, we'll measure 1 inch. We'll take it in by 3.5. Then we'll notch it. Then we are going to notch it with our scissors. So this is to allow the collar bend freely from inside and join it to the neck this way. So after that, we'll gum it now on our fabric, and this is the way we are going to gum it to our fabric. So from here, after gumming it, we are going to introduce our paper gum and gum it at the base of the collar, because we all know vintage materials are stretchy. So to avoid it from being stretchy, we'll introduce a paper gum that will make it a little bit stiff. Then we'll gum it to the base of our collar. So after that, we are going to trim the base of our collar, leaving 1 inch from the base of our collar so that we'll be able to bend it, then 1/2 inch at the sides of the collar to enable us have allowance where we'll sew it with the facing of the collar. So after trimming it, you bend your 1 inch like so. You bend it this way and follow it with your cooler in order to make it lie down well. Then you do the same thing that you did for the collar stay, for the front of the collar to the facing, to avoid the material from stretching when fixing it to the clothes. So after ironing it, you place it this way with the facing and go and sew it this way. So after sewing it, you come to the table and trim the excess that is left. You trim it all around. So after trimming it, you flip it and bring out all the edges of the collar. You bring it out, you push it and bring it out properly. After doing that, then you bring your iron and press it, pushing back the facing towards the backward in order to avoid it from puffing out. Then you follow it gradually with your iron and iron it well to lie down very well. Then after ironing it very well, you trim the edges and you trim it close to the edge, to the bent edge of the collar with like a 1/4 inch. Then we'll go and fix it to the neck of the shirt. You notch the middle of the shirt, then you join the middle of the collar to the middle of the neck which you've notched, and sew it from one end to another end of the collar. So after joining to the end of the collar, you push the place where you sew inside of the collar after the first sewing and sew it this way. You sew it this way till the other end. So after sewing it, this is what we have. This is what we have. The complete work. We'll fix the collar. So from here, you sprinkle a little water to iron it, measuring the length at which you want your opening of your neck to be. For me, I'm using 5. Then you iron it gradually. You take your time and press it so that it will come out very well. And you do the same thing to the other side. So after you iron, this is the finished work. So please, if you like what you've watched, please like, subscribe, and turn on the notification button to get more updates from us. Thank you for watching.